Welcome back to another episode of Sports Dan Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker here, and today's episode is my Week 7 predictions and college football. Let's get into it. For my first game, it's going to be Ohio State versus Illinois. I truly believe that this will be a blowout. I believe that if Illinois can get blown out by Indiana 63-10, I do believe Ohio State can do something similar in that sense, but also it's a week-by-week team. Teams are different each and every week. A team probably won't be the same team as they were last week. So I give Illinois some grace in that, but I do believe Ohio State will have a big game offensively, especially from Julian Sain. I think that this will be his breakout game. I think he will throw for over 300 yards, and I think that with that being shown on national television, with that being shown on the grand stage, I do believe that Ohio State will win. I think that Cardinal Tate will also have a big game. I think that Jeremiah Smith will do his usual self. But I do believe that Julian Sain will have a breakout game this game. But I do believe that Ohio State will win 42-17. 42-17, 45-17. That is my prediction for that game. Now move forward, the Red River rivalry. I do believe that Texas, their season will be in dumpster fire territory after this game because their offensive line has not looked the best. Arch has not looked the best. And if they lose this game to Oklahoma, I do believe that there will be a lot of people upset in Austin, Texas. Because this season coming in, there are national championship expectations. Texas was a top 3 team coming to the season. So when I say to myself, okay, if Texas can continue what they did from last year, put Arch in, you would think, seamlessly knowing that, okay, Arch can elevate it to, okay, they're going to be the top tier of those contenders. Now, throughout the season, Arch has had his mistakes. Arch has not been who a lot of people thought he was going to be. So I said to myself, okay, how can they win this game against Oklahoma? They have to put pressure on John Mateer because John Mateer is going to try and play this game just 2 weeks removed off of hand surgery. So if Oklahoma can find a way to get him in position to where he doesn't have to do as much than he had before, I do believe Oklahoma can win this game. I do believe that Texas is too far gone to even win this game because a loss to Florida can mentally check out a couple of guys. So I said to myself, okay, who's going to be, who on the Oklahoma defense will be the ones to step up? We all know David Stone Jr. He's arguably the best run-stuffing defensive lineman that we have in college football. So they have pass rushers like Mason Thomas, Taylor Wynn, Jaden Jackson, who are both sophomores right now, and all three have 3 or more sacks this season. So we have to commend Brent Venables for getting his defense going, but also John Mateer for getting the offense going, because if John Mateer is in here, Michael Hawkins will be the starting quarterback. We all saw a glimpse of it last season. But I do say this. If Michael Hawkins does go in this game, I do believe they win. But I don't think they win as easily with John Mateer, because a 75% John Mateer will beat Texas. But 100% Michael Hawkins struggles but also wins, but not as much. So I say to myself, Texas has to be better in a sense to make this game competitive. I think they will do that because it is a rivalry game, but I do believe that Oklahoma will win 27-17. Next game up, Texas A&M versus Florida. This game will be interesting because we saw their playmakers are problems. You have to think their most consistent playmaker has been Jaden Ball this season, who's been one of the better running backs in college football. Then you have talented freshman wide receiver Dallas Wilson, who came in and created a new wrinkle in his offense. A big receiver that can also run go up, have very secure hands for DJ Lagway, another big body target. And then you have the speed, quick guys with John Michael Sturdivant, Vernell Brown III. And so it will pose some challenges for Texas A&M. But DJ Lagway is going to a new environment. He's going into College Station. College Station holds over 1,000 people. It will be loud. It will be rowdy because they want to see their team going to new heights in this college football playoff era because Texas A&M has not been to the college football playoff. And now this feels like the year for Texas A&M to make the college football and to make some noise in the college football playoff because Ruben Owens and Le'Veon Moss has been leading the charge with the run game. Marcel Reed has been doing his thing at the quarterback position. Then you also have Mario Craver and Casey Conception as being one of the better duos at the wide receiver position in the nation. So I say to myself to say this. Florida and Texas A&M will be interesting for the first two and a half quarters. I think Texas A&M separates, shows that they're just better. They're more disciplined. They will be a better team, and their talent and depth will show. And I will say that Texas A&M will win 34-20 in a game like this. Next game moving forward, Georgia versus Auburn. Knowing how Jordan Hare gets, especially at night, will be a test for this Georgia team. They will have to fight through some adversity this game. And we have to see how good this defensive front is. Because this defensive front, this defensive line only has one sack. One sack. The rest of the sacks came from linebackers. So we have to see how good this defensive front is. Because if Georgia wants to say that they can compete for a national championship, their defensive front has to show up today and has to create momentum for themselves throughout the season. So you have to say the guys like Xavier McLeod, Elijah Griffin, Jordan Hall, Christian Miller. You guys step up. We need you. Because this Auburn offensive line has given up over 20 sacks. So when you say to yourself, offensive line who's giving up over 4 sacks a game, what does that mean as a defensive coordinator? We have to eat in the backfield. We have to create having the backfield. We have to make Jackson Arnold uncomfortable. Because in a game like this, you have to create more possessions, more easy opportunities. Make sure your offense is in a prime position to score points and score points often. Because Auburn's not a team that will back down. Auburn has had multiple one-score games with all of the fact that their offensive line play has not been there. And so Georgia has to do a good job of that. Georgia has to carry their defense and their run game in their luggage. Because on the road, you can't rely on your pass game. On the road, you have to rely on that run game. And Auburn is one of the better run defenses in the league with only allowing 88 a game. So if Georgia can create creases for their running backs, like Chauncey Bones, like Danae Frazier's, I can see Georgia winning. But also, on the flip side for Auburn, Jackson Arnold has to have his best day as a quarterback with the Auburn jersey if Auburn wants to win this game. Because a lot is riding on Hugh Freeze in this game. A lot is riding on Jackson Arnold in this game because Hugh Freeze has not had his signature win yet at Auburn. This Saturday, he has a prime opportunity with Cam Newton jersey retirement, a night in Jordan Hare, sold out crowd. They want to beat their rival. So if they want to do that, Jackson Arnold has to have his best day as a quarterback in the Auburn uniform. Will I think that happened? No. I think Georgia survives and leaves Auburn, Alabama with the win 24-13. I think that happens. And I think that we will see the Georgia Bulldogs have some momentum. I think their defense carries them to a win this game. Next game up is Michigan and USC. Michigan and USC will have a lot of eyes on this game because all of college football wants to find out where Michigan and USC are at, because we see USC has been very good offensively. USC has been one of the better teams in the Big Ten, but now this is a time to test how good their team is, because Michigan is among the cusp of, okay, let's see them as contenders. Now USC, we don't do that, because USC has shown they're probable to a late season flop, probable to a late season skid. So now with Jaden Mayaba, who's been one of the better quarterbacks in college football, arguably in the top 10 of college football quarterbacks, he has a chance to show that he is amongst the elite. He has a chance to put on for USC to get them to 5-1. And then your hardest game left will be at Notre Dame. Then you have to go to at Nebraska. Then close the second to last week, you got to go to at Oregon. You have to create a momentum train going, because in games like those, you need to have some momentum right in. You need to have some type of good energy, because the loss right here will arguably put you guys out of the playoff. And so Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane have to show that they are who people think they are, and that's first round graded wide receivers. Also, Wayman Jordan has to run the ball, because their run game has to release some pressure from Mayaba, and also that's one hard task to do, because Michigan defense is one of the best run defenses. They will make offense become one-dimensional. That's Nebraska. And so this will be a good test for Bryce Underwood. We'll see if he can make some plays, because, as I said before, for Georgia, your defense and your run game has to travel with you in order for you to win this game. And do I believe that it can? Yes. Now, I do believe Bryce Underwood will be making plays in the run game. I believe that Justice Haynes is one of the best running backs in the nation. I think that he will have another game over 100 yards and a touchdown. And I do believe that Michigan will win this game 27-24. I think this game will be very exciting. It will be very entertaining to watch. Both teams will be heavily invested in this game. You'll see a lot of passion, a lot of energy from both sides, and I do believe Michigan will have enough to leave Los Angeles with a win. Now, for the last game, South Carolina LSU. This is going to be a test for both teams on how they want to end their season, because LSU, if you want to create that momentum, you have to create it now, because you face Alabama in a couple weeks. You face Oklahoma at the end of the year. And you have to be who you are. And that is a team that backs down for nothing. Make sure that both the offense and the defense are playing complementary football. The defense has been playing their butts off this season. It's the offensive side that has to come together. Starting with Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier, he didn't want to answer reports early in the season saying that if he was hurt or not. Garrett, if you're hurt, you're hurt. Because if you're hurt, okay, cool. But if you're injured, sit out. But if you're good enough to play, the standard at LSU at the quarterback position, because it has been elevated since Joe Burrow has left, you have to show up and throw. You have to show up and make plays for you guys to win. And so I think that this will be a good test. Harlem Barrett and Caden Durham have to find a way to help out Nussmeier in a sense, because the run game has been non-existent in some games. I'm sorry, but it has been. And in a game like this, I think you guys can find creases in that South Carolina defense and make things go. But all eyes will be on the quarterbacks. I already said my piece about Gary Nussmeier. Lenore Seller has to put on his baby Cam Newton effort in order for the Gamecocks to win this game, because we know how special he is. We saw it last year. Throughout this time, he started to really understand the quarterback position. He really started to understand that he is a special player. And now one thing I love about Shane Beamer, he's not shying away from the competition. He told his team that if you want to be one of the best teams in the nation, and we saw the schedule that South Carolina has, you got to love it. You got to enjoy the competition, welcome the competition, and meet the competition halfway and put your best effort forward and go out and play hard and win the game. And I do believe South Carolina has a chance to upset LSU. But I think LSU knows the playoff stakes are at an all-time high. I do believe that LSU will come out and win that game 34-27. And I think that this will be one of the best weeks of college football from a state of which teams will show up and which teams will crumble in the spotlight. And I do believe that this week will show a lot about a lot of quarterbacks. So that is all for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.